The killer used his victim's phone to call her 15-year-old sister and taunt her about the murder. 7 calls, each one under 3 minutes. Each one made from a different crowded street corner in Midtown Manhattan, because he knew precisely how long police needed to trace a signal. In one call, he told the girl he had watched her sister die. Then he hung up, powered off the phone, and vanished back into a crowd of millions. That victim was 24-year-old Melissa Barthelemy, and her body was about to be discovered in a way nobody could have scripted. On December 11, 2010, Suffolk County Officer John Malia was walking his German Shepherd Blue through the frozen scrub brush along Ocean Parkway on Long Island's South Shore. They weren't even looking for Melissa. They were looking for someone else entirely, a woman who had disappeared 7 months earlier, screaming into a 911 call that someone was trying to kill her. Blue stopped. Buried in the thicket was a disintegrating burlap sack. Inside it was a human skeleton, and that was only the first one. To understand what Blue the K9 found, you have to go back to 4:51 a.m. on May 1, 2010. A 24-year-old woman named Shannan Gilbert was inside a house in Oak Beach, a tiny gated community on a barrier island south of Long Island. Shannan worked as an escort advertising on Craigslist, and she'd been driven there by her driver, Michael Pack, to meet a client named Joseph Brewer. Something inside that house terrified her. She dialed 911 and stayed on the line for 23 minutes whispering, "They're trying to kill me." Then she ran, banging on neighbors' doors in the dark, screaming for help before disappearing into the marsh. She was never seen alive again. For 7 months, her family pushed a reluctant police department to search the area, and when Officer Malia and Blue finally combed the brush along Ocean Parkway that December, they didn't find Shannan. They found Melissa Barthelemy, wrapped in burlap. 2 days later, on December 13th, searchers returned to the same stretch of highway. What they found next turned a missing persons case into one of the most disturbing crime scenes in American history. 3 more bodies, each wrapped in burlap, each placed roughly 500 feet apart along the same quarter-mile of highway brush, deliberate, evenly spaced, like a private gallery only the killer could visit. Investigators identified them quickly. Maureen Brainerd Barnes, missing since 2007. Megan Waterman, missing since June 2010. Amber Lynn Costello, missing since September 2010. Together with Melissa, they became known as the Gilgo Four, and the pattern was chilling. All 4 were young women in their 20s. All were petite, most under 5'3". All worked as escorts advertising online. All had vanished after going to meet a client. Whoever did this wasn't opportunistic. He was selecting them. Remember Ocean Parkway's geography. It becomes important later. This is a barrier island, one long road, water on both sides, no houses for miles. To dump 4 bodies there at night repeatedly without ever being seen, the killer had to know this coastline intimately. Police announced they were likely dealing with a serial killer. Then, in the spring of 2011, they expanded the search along the parkway, and the case stopped making sense entirely. By April 2011, searchers had found 10 sets of human remains scattered along Ocean Parkway and nearby Jones Beach, and the new victims shattered the profile. There was Jessica Taylor, whose partial remains matched a torso found 40 miles away in Manorville back in 2003. There was a woman investigators called Peaches, identified only by a tattoo, found alongside the remains of her toddler daughter, a toddler. There was an unidentified Asian male found in women's clothing, dead from blunt force trauma, and a pair of severed legs that matched a skull discovered on Fire Island in 1996, meaning bodies had been appearing in these waters for at least 14 years. Was this one killer with a shifting method? 2 killers using the same dumping ground? The taunting calls to Melissa's sister proved this man was intelligent, patient, and cruel. Profilers believed he likely had a job, a family, a normal life. Then, in December 2011, police finally found Shannan Gilbert, face down in the marsh a half-mile from where she vanished. Officially accidental drowning. Her family never believed it. And here's where this story takes its darkest turn. Because the biggest obstacle in this case wasn't the killer, it was the police. Suffolk County Police Chief James Burke actively blocked the FBI from joining the investigation. Federal profilers were shut out. Leads sat untouched. Why would a police chief sabotage the biggest case in his county's history? In 2016, America found out. Burke was convicted, not for the Gilgo case, but for beating a handcuffed suspect who had stolen a duffel bag from his car, a bag reportedly containing pornography and other items Burke desperately wanted hidden, then orchestrating a department-wide cover-up. The district attorney, Thomas Spota, went to prison too for helping conceal it. The most important serial killer investigation in New York had been run by men who would eventually be convicted felons themselves. Years bled away. Victims' families held vigils on the windswept Parkway every December, and every December the answer was the same. No suspects, no arrests. 13 years, 11 victims, nothing. Then, in early 2022, a new commissioner named Rodney Harrison formed a task force and did something almost embarrassingly simple. They reopened the original tips from 2010. And buried in those files was a single sentence from a witness, a detail that had been sitting there ignored the entire time. Amber Costello's roommate had seen the client she left to meet on her final night. He was huge, around 6'4", and he drove a distinctive dark first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche. In 6 weeks, the task force cross-referenced Avalanche registrations against the geography of the case. And one name surfaced, Rex Heuermann, a 59-year-old architect, married father of 2. He commuted every day to his Manhattan office, blocks from where those taunting calls to Melissa's sister had been made. And his home in Massapequa Park sat directly across the bay from Gilgo Beach. Remember that lonely barrier island? He could practically see the dumping ground from his neighborhood. Investigators trailed him for months. Then, outside a Manhattan restaurant, he discarded a pizza box. The DNA on that crust was compared to a male hair recovered from the burlap wrapped around Megan Waterman. On July 13, 2023, agents arrested him on a midtown sidewalk. Prosecutors say burner phones, disturbing internet searches, and cell records tied him to the victims, and that his wife was conveniently out of town during each of the Gilgo 4 murders. The monster, they allege, had been an ordinary commuter the whole time. Rex Heuermann has pleaded not guilty and, as of now, awaits trial. Legally, he is presumed innocent. But since that first arrest, prosecutors have charged him in 7 deaths, including Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, and Sandra Costilla, a victim killed all the way back in 1993, decades before anyone said the words Long Island serial killer. Yet here's what should keep you up tonight. The math doesn't close. Peaches and her toddler daughter were only identified in 2025 as Tanya Denise Jackson and her daughter Tatiana. Their killer remains uncharged. The Asian male victim still has no name at all, and Shannan Gilbert, the woman whose disappearance uncovered everything, is officially not considered a victim of the killer, even though her 23-minute 911 call has never been fully explained. Was one man responsible for all of it, or did that dark stretch of Ocean Parkway hide more than one predator? 13 years of silence, a corrupt police chief, a pizza crust, and a house across the bay. What do you think really happened at Oak Beach? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want more cases like this, you know what to do. If you thought this was unsettling, wait until you hear what happened under eerily similar circumstances in almost the exact same circumstances. That video is waiting for you right now. Don't forget to subscribe. We uncover a new dark secret every day.